Good evening. Welcome to tonight's Public Safety and Transportation Committee. It is February 12th, and we are starting at 12:45. We're calling to order. I'm going to do the ground rules. No one may speak on the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. To raise your hand through Zoom, click the participants icon. You will find the raise hand function there. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subject of the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. And now we will do our roll call.
10 committee members, 6 remain for quorum. Jose Altamirano,
Present.
Leslie Colon,
Present.
Carlos Diaz. Carlos? Oh, he is not online anymore. Okay, we'll wait. Wanda Hopkins, Kyoka Jackson,
Present.
Christina Johnson, Jewel Jones,
Present.
Sage Mason, Valerie Ponte,
Present.
Juan Sanders, unless Carlos.
Okay, we will go into recess until we have quorum. Otherwise, it'll be in her. Let's redo the roll call now that we
Jose Altamirano,
present.
Leslie Colon, Carlos Diaz, absent. Wanda Hopkins, absent. Kyoka Jackson,
Present.
Christina Johnson,
Present.
Jewel Jones,
Present.
Sage Mason, absent. Valerie Ponte,
Present again.
Donna Sanders, absent. You have quorum now.
Thank you, sir. We're adopting tonight's agenda. We will approve January's minutes next month because Google or Gmail left it as a draft, and that was on me. But Khalid has them now, so we'll just bundle them for the next month. We have an announcement. We have a proposed bike station on 116 and 1st Street. Rafael, if you could give us a little clarity in that regard. Do you know exactly? You responded to me after 13 days today about the bike station. Exactly in front of where it's going to be? Is it in front of the city?
Yeah, it's been used.
No,
Not
but
gonna be implemented, but it's
where is it going to be?
one on the northwest side.
So city bank.
Right, city.
Okay, perfect. That was a question.
Is it on top of the sidewalk or taking up the park?
Okay, and we're gonna go to our informational. Do we have anyone here? We had actually Detective Bob was here earlier.
There's a question.
What was your
Yeah,
question?
there was a question and he
What was your
didn't answer.
question? I'm sorry.
What?
This proposal is gonna be taking a parking like all the others, or it's gonna be on top of the sidewalk where it can fit?
That's a good question.
It would be, what are you talking about? The sidewalk or the road?
bikes. Some of them-
There is
Some
no,
on the sidewalk, some on the. You can put it on the sidewalk.
yes, it's gonna be on the sidewalk.
Mm.
I'll tell you.
Because with all the limited space in this particular area, you know, with these enterprise rent-a-cars taking up corner spots, now we got bikes taking up residential parking.
Okay.
I'm
Rafael's,
sorry, you upset at me?
No, I
Oh,
was
okay.
asking.
well, Rafael looks at that. Rafael's not going anywhere, and he'll have an information update, so we'll get back to your
Yeah,
question.
no, okay.
I'm only rushing along because I want to be able to speak to Officer Sharma and Ram on the record because they have a 7:20 stop. They've been so great in joining us tonight. So we'll have to move in that part. Actually, why don't we have you now?
Sure, thank you. Officially, good evening, everyone. We are quality of life officers from the 25th precinct. What that means is anytime residents in the area call for 311 complaints or some chronic 911 complaints, we are the ones who are showing up, assisting with those complaints and trying to find a resolution to those. Sometimes these complaints take time to answer. Most of these complaints that we are focusing on currently are related to the East River Mall on 517 East 117th Street, which is closer to 116 and FDR Street. The complaints that we are getting in that area is for illegally parked vehicles, double parked vehicles, especially on the 117th Street corridor, which is right by the mall, and the vehicles need to exit from that area, creating a huge traffic congestion. One of the possible solutions that we came up with is to have more boulders and planters or similar structures be added onto that pathway, which is a no standing zone on both south side and north side of East 117th Street. There are already some planters and boulders in the area, but the vehicles are finding space to park in between them, creating more congestion and adding on to the chaos that happens already at the busy mall and commercial space. So we just wanted to reach out to the Community Board 11 and partner agencies in the city so we can try to speed up the process and decrease the amount of complaints that we're getting from the residents in the area. So any help or assistance would be highly appreciated.
Question from our chair at them.
On First Avenue, other blocks, there's sometimes a lot of U-Hauls lately that are parked. I think gas stations, whatever, have them. They leave them there for weeks at a time, parked by pumps, whatever. You know, these commercial vehicles, they have to get whatever deal they have. They don't care about getting tickets as much, and they're just allowed to use these parking spaces like they're their own driveways. And so people call 311, they get a ticket, they don't care. You'll see a ticket there, you won't give them another ticket because you maybe think they already have a ticket. So I guess my question is are you guys aware of this? And what's the solution? Because, I don't think them getting ticketed is going to stop that from happening. And, you don't think you're allowed to even do commercial overnight parking in a residential area.
Correct. So we have gotten a few of those 311 complaints from First Avenue around BP or Shell gas station.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, what we try to do is try to find the source of that commercial establishment. In this case, would be that U-Haul parking spot.
Or the gas station.
Gas station. So we have reached out to them a few times, and our first and foremost thing is to educate them about the infractions that they committed. But again, enforcement is always
The city has a tow, right? Because I know if you go downtown, like in Battery Park, there's tow trucks from the police that tow people's vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen one of those in this community. Why can't that be, if that's happening at East River Plaza all the time, there seems to be ability to put that in effect where it's a problem. Forget about First Avenue, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but if you're seeing that many are coming from East River Plaza, why doesn't the NYPD have a tow truck there?
We do have a program called Violation Tow. So
Right,
anytime
yeah,
that
yes.
you're issuing tickets,
Yeah.
we as responding officers, we have to stay over there,
Yeah.
wait for the tow truck to come by,
Yeah.
and the tow truck takes the vehicle
Right,
away.
yeah.
In terms of the actual NYPD tow trucks, I don't have any information as of right now that we can.
Because it's called like rotation tow, NYPD, I've seen them, but they almost seem like a ferry, like a made-up thing, but I've seen them, and I just, because I hear what you guys are dealing with, and I understand that, and I'm sure it's frustrating to keep going back to the same calls, but, I just throwing that out there, there might be a way to solve this to some extent.
And everyone's parked this much incorrectly around 20-something street, and my car was towed to the depot you have on the river over there. It's a big depot. $500 later.
Yeah.
You tow a few people, and then they realize, everybody else, people are getting towed there, they usually stop.
So what has been the response there? So you go, are you ticketing them as they're staying there? Because a lot of people unfortunately prefer to just kind of abandon their cars there, go and shop. We have a significant issue with people didn't want to pay for the parking. Yeah. So they'll leave their car there.
Yeah.
They do no standing, because there are some businesses there, right? So people that kind of like scoop in and scoop out really don't cause that issue. But if you notice, like a lot of these vehicles, and I'll get your contact information because I'm always there, just so you know and you're aware, for all transparency, I am the owner of Body Your Car Service. We have a contract there, so the taxis that come out, I service the mall for the. So I know the area quite well. That's why I'm always fighting with Rafael about his lack of plans. If he tells me a DOT doesn't know how to cut concrete and they can only get a limited amount of planters, we'll have that discussion later. But in regards to the vehicles that are there, like, are we able to ticket them on the spot? Particularly the ones that, so our councilwoman Ayala, which was our past councilwoman, had that implemented because of the amount of people walking there. Initially, the mall thought that people would walk to 116 and use those big, beautiful sidewalks. It's not what was happening. What people are doing is walking on 117th Street, where the tree pits there and everything. It makes it very, very tight. The building at the corner of 117 and Pleasant has a extended ramp that also takes up a big amount of the sidewalk. And all of that causes, if anyone goes with a walker or a shopping cart, it causes some congestion. So that whole area was meant so that people can walk on there. But more so than anything, you see vehicles. It's consistently vehicles parked. Or no, I think it's like the Instacart people on their scooters, or just like rampant scooters there. So I know that there's been a lot of issues in that, and I'm just curious if there has been like an increased violations given there, or is it more like move your car? Because sometimes I see an officer be like, move your car, but as soon as the officer leaves, those people loop around and they park right back, and you'll see the same car there all day.
Yeah, in terms of responses, it's a little bit of both. It's, again, coming back to education, it's not always about enforcement.
Mhm.
All right, so it's educating people about what they're doing. And yes, if we see majority of the complaints coming in for specific car or vehicles around the area, well, we have been increasing our enforcement efforts around the area. And we've also had a meeting with the Manhattan North Traffic Enforcement Division, and their executives there to have more traffic agents come by in the area. And because they have a printing machine, it's very quick. They'll print it right away, fix to the car, and that will be it. So when we respond, it takes a little bit of time for us because we have to handwrite everything, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we have been responding over there with every 311 call, our own enforcement initiatives as well
So we
in the
gotta get
area. With both
We gotta get you
tickets
one of those
and
machines.
arrests.
So, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Real quick,
Kyoko, and
so
then
thank you
Christina.
for all of the work you guys do in that area. I think, and the only thing that I kind of wanted to like push back on a little bit, and maybe this is a community council conversation that we can have as well, is that, yes, I do understand that enforcement is not the way to go for all situations, but if we think about East River Plaza, is usually people that are not community members, and so what you see is a lot more transient individuals that come and maybe park in the car. So you're educating somebody that might not come back until next month or for next year, right? If they get their big order. So like maybe a tow campaign, like we've done that before, and for a while it worked, but maybe we need to go back to doing something like that. And I know the Manhattan North transit person was at the last meeting on Zoom, so maybe we can get her to come back to discuss that, because we're talking to people that don't care, right? If you talk to me, we're community members, and so we're gonna kind of be, cognizant and be mindful. When you're talking to people who are not coming back for a long time, you're not gonna take that message and kind of be like, oh, okay, let's care about the lady and that was parked in front of our building. It's not gonna be the same message.
Christina?
Okay, so it's not more about the parking as much as it is about the mall, right? I think one of the problems with the traffic is the fact that the mall used to charge $3 and now they charge $14, right? So if I'm going into the mall and say, I'm just going to pick up a couple of things and run back out, right? Why do I need to pay $14? And who sanctioned this increase in payment. So I went into the mall one day, thank God I came right back out because they didn't have what I wanted, so I only had to pay the $14. But imagine a family of 5 going in there with SNAP or food benefits, right? And they're in there for 2 hours. They're paying close to $30 to get out of that parking lot. And now there's not even an attendant in the lot where you can even talk to somebody. It's all automated, you know? And I'm not even sure that's something that we can do with this committee, but is it something that we can do to talk to someone about these prices? I mean, we're in East Harlem. We're not the richest community. And why are we sitting here and allowing the city or private developers to raise these prices and not inform anybody? Even like I've noticed the parking meters on Third Avenue, they went from $1 to $8. They're now $8 to park on Third Avenue.
Redlining.
We
can reach out to some of these road plazas
Yeah,
and
it's
see what they're.
ridiculous,
I think
yeah,
this is redlining.
yeah, it's terrible.
So,
Right on 150th
Officer
Street.
Sharma and Officer Ram, I know that you have
Yeah.
another pending issue, so we appreciate you being here. If you could give us your contact information, and then we'll be in touch. And let's see what we can do. No, thank you for coming. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
keep in touch.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Officer. Appreciate you. Moving along, because we had a little bit of a delay, we have Detective Powers here from the 2-5.
Hello, everybody. I'm just gonna keep mine brief. For the overall in crime, we are down 51% in a 28-day period compared to last year. We have 0 murders. We have 2 rapes. They're domestic violence related and is sensitive information. Robberies, we are down by 84% with 3 compared to 19. Felonious assaults, we have 10. Burglaries, we have 7. Grand larcenies, we have 21, and grand larceny autos, we have 2. We did take a shooting. 1 second. We did take a shooting on Tuesday around 8 p.m. We received a call of a shots fired incident inside of 107 East 126th Street. Upon arrival, a 20-year-old man states he was standing in the vestibule area when he was shot with a firearm on his right thigh by an unknown suspect. He states he didn't get a description or direction of flight. The victim was transported to the hospital and is recovering from his injuries. Throughout questioning, the victim gave conflicting stories and was extremely uncooperative. Videos are being reviewed and the investigation is still ongoing. Once we get more information regarding that case, we'll update everybody else. And that's all for the major crimes. Our next community council meeting is on Wednesday, February 25th. It's normally every 3rd Wednesday of the month, but they had to change it this month because there was a couple of schedule conflicts. And it's gonna be at 6 p.m. at the precinct.
All right, thank you so much, Detective Powers. Any questions for Detective Powers? I like the sound of that, Detective Powers.
Tell her she could be honest. I'm just not gonna be here this week.
It's okay, conflict is fine. I appreciate you so much. We'll definitely be in touch soon. Thank you.
No problem.
Do we have anyone here from the 2-3? It's been a long time since we had someone from the 2-3. I want to reach out to that.
Yeah, we also have to be a lot better at sending the notice. That was you said this last month.
Yeah.
Detective
Rivera.
No, Matos. I think it might have been Matos. He's asked that we be a little bit more timely in sending out these notices because there's conflicts for them.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been a practice that we've been trying to be better at even last year and so forth.
Okay, so we'll do better at that.
Because it has been a while since they've attended, and it's because we get the agendas out to them in a manner that they're not able to accommodate somebody sitting.
I miss Officer Gibbons, though. He always knew that it was the same Thursday of the same month. All right, no issue. Do we have any other information? I see a couple of names here I don't recognize, or this is all for Joe. I saw Joe here already for the Second Avenue subway. Move into that.
No, you still have FDNY, Department of Transportation, and
Is anyone here?
District Attorney's Office of New York for informational updates.
Are they here or?
Raphael's here for DOT.
Reference here for DOT.
And you have Luther Iser from the District Attorney's Office.
Perfect, okay. Let's start with Luther. Hi, Luther, do you hear me?
Greetings, good evening. So Luther Isler, the East Harlem Community Engagement Coordinator for Manhattan District Attorney's Office. I just have two announcements that we were sharing and we really want to get out because, of course, part of public safety is getting young people places to be and money in their hands. So one of the things that we are pushing is our high school internship program. So it is good for networking, workshops, mock trials, professional development. This program is from June 29th through July 31st, and it is a paid internship. Participants will get inside look into the criminal justice system through workshops and hands-on experience, participate in mock trials and policy proposals, and join a network of other youth. The eligibility for this is high school juniors and seniors. The registration ends on there's a registration info session that'll be passed. But if you're interested or anyone's interested, I'll send the flyer, but I'll also drop my email address and number in the chat. The other thing that's really big that we need to be getting out to our young people, particularly in East Harlem, is our high school resume workshop that we will be providing. This will be Friday, February 20th. It is our free resume workshop for New York City youth. We'll have opportunity to work one-on-one with professionals at our office to create or refine resumes. There'll be light refreshments. So again, I'll drop my contact information and I will also email out the flyer. So anyone who wants information, we want to really get a really great turnout for East Harlem because it's a really great opportunity for our young people.
Thank you for that update, Luther. Do we have any questions? We appreciate you being here. And we look forward to working closer with you. Thank you. All right, Rafael Escano.
For the record,
please.
For the record, Rafael Escano, DOT, Manhattan Borough Planner from the Commissioner's Office. Responding to your question regarding the bike station location, it will be on the street. And I think I'm not sure, but there's a note standing there as it is right now. But that this is only for the purpose of.
Is it 116 on the street or on the avenue?
It's on the street, 116.
Street.
On the street.
There's
There's a hydrant.
a hydrant.
Right, that would be also taken into consideration.
How many?
From the hydrant to the corner. Okay, so
Not very.
it would not cover the hydrant per se. It would be, I think, to the east of the heart of the hydrant, from the hydrant to the corner.
You're putting 4 bikes there? It's a very
Like I say, we just reviewing the possibility.
So
That's
this
the
is
reason why we reach out to you for any flag that might be.
That would be a pretty big flag in that area. It's very limited parking. Are you moving, this is an addition or sometimes you move one and then you move it
There
somewhere
would be,
because there's a very large city bike on Second Avenue, which is not that far from 116 that you guys install. It's actually in the middle, more so like the middle of the block. So I'm not really sure why you're adding one on the same block. It really doesn't make much sense.
It's a relocation.
I'm sorry?
Relocation.
So which one are you relocating?
The one on the Second Avenue.
Because the train station is gonna be there.
Right, exactly.
That's why. However.
So you're relocating already? Oh.
Yeah, that has to be done early on. And we are just reaching out to find out if there is any big flag or big problem or big concern.
I'll walk through it tomorrow.
Right.
And then we'll go. You were saying, Leslie? Leslie?
There is someone from the MTA online that wants to be, I think it's Hector Santana.
They'll
He's
be
the-
coming on shortly.
Go ahead, Leslie.
I'm just concerned because you wanna relocate the bikes from Second to First, yet there's funeral parlors right there, and they usually have their hearse and their limousine catering to bereavement families, transporting the person. So by putting that bike there, it's gonna cause double and triple parking, because now you have the bikes there, and then you have these vehicles that they always have there for funeral processions. So, and there's 3 of them there. That's my concern.
We'd like to know like how long, like how extended it would be from the corner.
And there's a hydrant.
Particularly if you're not going to cover the hydrant, it would be after the hydrant, you would be going west, not east. Because going east puts you in the middle of First Avenue, which I'm sure you're not gonna do.
Right.
So
And your concern is that. the
possibly
funerals,
maybe we could find a better,
activities might.
which is constant, Rafael. Constant, very, very, it's a small business, it's been here for a very long time. And they are constantly busy.
There is no really solution for that corner. 'Cause you have the
No,
bus
if they could do
stop.
northeast, where the Dunkin' Donuts used to be,
Yes, but those are 2 bus stops,
but after the bus stops.
taking away more residential parking.
They're gonna take parking no matter what, Leslie.
Oh.
Because they're relocating, so the parking they're gonna give back, it's not more parking. Right, so if they're going to give back 4 spots on Second Avenue, they're gonna take them somewhere else. So it's not a matter of like, it's not really losing spots, it's more of a shuffling it around. Which after everything's done, I'm sure they would shuffle back.
That would be a possibility, yes.
No, the sidewalk is big enough.
I'm gonna email you to remind you about the lighting, particularly the,
I thought you did.
yeah, just to get to finish, and about the sidewalk and everything, I got you.
No, there isn't, that's
Yeah.
that's
So, you're actually on the email, so that way you can keep track of it. So I'll make sure that we have that conversation to make sure that we have this lighting. We've been asking for the lighting on 1/7 Street, on both sides of Park Avenue for an extended amount of time. It is very, very dark, particularly in the summer.
So I had a possible suggestion. The southeast corner where the old check cashing place used to be at, you can put the bikes on that sidewalk. There's no bus stop there. There's nothing there.
Where is that?
The southeast corner off
Okay.
of First Avenue and 116.
The check-in place is still there.
Southeast?
Yeah. Diagonally to where you're suggesting.
Are you gonna be around tomorrow, Rafael?
Hmm?
Are you around tomorrow or next week? We can just walk it.
I'll be around here. I'll be in my office tomorrow.
I'm asking would you be around the neighborhood so we can walk it?
Mhm.
If you can give me some dates for next week,
Oh, okay. We'll do that.
because I think it's better just like visually than like.
So there were also that bike units, considering other area, and I think that area that you just mentioned, don't, I don't wanna, you know.
I don't want to interrupt, but
Right,
we
but
can't
it's
talk, we're not gonna do 30 more minutes in this. We have a presentation pending and we started late, which is no one here's fault.
Okay,
But,
it was all your fault.
you
That's
know,
what I
Rafael,
meant.
if you have any other, information or updates
No,
for
that's
us,
it,
I'd like
but,
to move forward.
Thank you for that suggestion, and I'm gonna bring it up to the bike unit so they can also.
And give me
consider
some days when you can be in the area so we can
But
see
this
it.
is something that is,
Or bring the bike unit.
this is something that we
Does
need to, you know,
But talk to
Get
the
it
bike
rolling.
unit, because bike units, they should be able to come to the neighborhood and see what they're going to do before
Okay.
they do it.
oh, absolutely.
I think that's what's important here. You know, it's not just about like picking and choosing on Google Maps. They should come, they should have a little walkthrough, and if we're taking the time and we have the ability to do
And
it,
they have.
then let's
walked.
do it. So then,
They walk with you.
it was a long time ago, but let's do it again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, we're gonna,
Any, just Nothing about the 17?
17.
Is 17 unpleasant?
I mean, I have a million complaints. It's the same complaints.
The same
You
complaint.
heard the precinct. It's the same complaints.
Okay,
You have to add more planters on the north side. Cars are going there all the time.
and more enforcement,
No, there.
actually enforcement, because the study says nil.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, that finishes up our informational updates.
You still have more.
Ooh, who do I have? Sorry, where do I have? Oh, we have the MTA, a Metropolitan Transportation Authority, which is very
So
interesting.
they're gonna be presenting to us.
Okay.
Our regular liaison.
You know what I was confusing with? They had that special unit on 125th. That was an MTA unit. They used to come present monthly, but that was prior to me leaving. We already did the DA's office. Who else do we have? Fire department. Is the fire department on?
No one from the FDMI has shown up. The guy, our chief Flynn from last month said that he would be attending at a forthcoming meeting. He had a conflict for this month, so he wouldn't be able to.
Okay, so we'll touch base so we can do another month. Okay, so then that would finish our city agency, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. Let's move forward to our presentation.
So, did you want to do public safety, transportation advocacy groups, or any committee outreach reports? Do you want to look over those?
No, let's do the note business. I don't think we have any. Do we have any transportation advocacy groups on? I saw the congressman. You said the congressman?
I'm sorry, it was MTA.
MTA? Oh yeah, MTA is on. We know. Doctor's here, Joe's here.
Diana Razabal has her hand raised, but I don't know if she's.
Who is she?
Her hand is raised. I don't know if she's a an advocate.
Yeah, please.
Do you want to recognize her?
Please, let's recognize her. I'm just trying to figure out why I can't see her. I'll figure it out now. Got it. Diana. Diana is she an advocate?
Yes, hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Diana Larrazabal, and I have a business on 116th Street. And I raised my hand because I wanted to give it an opinion regarding the bicycles. They're going to be relocated. I heard they will be relocated to First Avenue, but I wanted to see if they could be relocated probably on 115th Street because there's already a bike, an area of city bikes on Pleasant Avenue on 116th Street. And there's also already one on First Avenue and 118th Street. So I don't think it would make any sense to have another city bike area on First Avenue.
Hi, Diana. We're going to do a walkthrough with the bike unit, and we're going to look for viable options. I'll make sure to invite you to the walkthrough. It's not something that we can do much tonight. We're just going to, Rafael's going to go to the bike unit, and we'll schedule a day.
Okay.
And, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move forward, Joe.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Good to see you, Joe. It's better to see you in person, but you know, something.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I mean, we can come in person too. Happy to do that. We've got a big group tonight, though. I have some folks from both our Contract 1 and Contract 2 teams, as well as the whole outreach team. So big group tonight.
Great. The show's all yours, please.
Do I have the ability to share? Yeah, screen.
Yes.
Yeah, you're up. And we're going to do questions at the end, so everyone, please, if you have any questions for whatever part, write it down, and we'll do everything at the end so their presentation can flow.
You can see that, my screen now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Well, I appreciate Community Board 11 and obviously the Safety and Transportation Committee giving us the opportunity to come to you this evening. We've got 2 contracts to actually speak to you about. You know, up until recently, we've been speaking to you about Contract 1, which is predominantly located in the 106th Street area with utility relocation and building stabilization efforts there. Towards the middle end of last year in August, we awarded Contract 2, which is for the tunnel boring operations and the retrofitting of the 116th Street station. So that contract is mobilized at the 125th Street and Lex laydown area, that former Extel property, the path mark there. and they're really starting to ramp up work and getting going along the avenue as well. So we wanted to come in and give you an update on phase one or contract one, as well as introduce to you to what is going to be going on with contract two. So just for level setting, this is for the Second Avenue subway project, the phase two of that project, which will extend existing Q line service from the 96th Street current terminus all the way up to 125th Street. In the process of extending that service, we'll be creating new stations at 106th, 116th, and we'll be tying into the existing 125th Lex Line station for the 456 will be going underneath that. So there will be entrances at both Lexington and Park Avenue. We'll also be extending west to just past Malcolm X Boulevard, where we will have tail tracks to lay up trains and take trains out of service should we need to. There are 4 contracts that are associated with this project. I mentioned contract 1, which was awarded in 2024. Our contractor, CAC, is currently working in that area to relocate the utilities from the middle of 2nd Avenue into the periphery. They're also working with the buildings in the area to do pre-construction surveys, establish monitoring, and do any building stabilization or remediation that needs to be done in advance of the heavy civil work. This is a lesson learned from phase 1 of the project. One of the things that was a huge schedule delay and cause of financial and time impacts was the fact that we ran into a lot of subsurface utilities that we, despite our best coordination with our brother and sister agencies here in the city, blueprints weren't necessarily up to date. Some of them were 100 years old and didn't accurately reflect what was in the street. So we took a lesson from phase 1 and we're doing all the utility work early and getting that out of the way so that hopefully paves or smooths the way for future contract 3 to come in and build the station at 106th Street. I mentioned contract 2 that was awarded in August of 2025. They were given their notice to proceed. That was awarded to Connect Plus Partners. They are going to be doing the tunnel boring operations from 120th Street up to 125th Street and then west to just past Malcolm X Boulevard. They're also going to be doing the retrofitting of the existing 112th to 119th Street tunnels that were originally built in the 1970s and abandoned when the city ran out of money back then. So we're going to make good use of those tunnels. It's a great starter hole for us. Some of Community Board 11 joined us for a tour there. We brought some folks down before work gets going in earnest there to give them a look at the past so that as we bring those tunnels into the future, they had a look at what we were starting with. Eventually, we will be moving on to contracts 3 and 4. The objective is to award contract 3 this year and then TBD on contract 4, but possibly as early as in 2027. Just a refresher on the contract limits. Contract 1, as I mentioned, is the instrumentation and building remediation, as well as the utility relocation. That stretches from 104th Street all the way up to just north of 111th Street, just south of 112th. There's quite a bit of MPT in the area there as we're doing that utility work. I saw Leslie, we have all 3 sides pretty much of Franklin Plaza inundated with work going on there. So they're very familiar with the work that's going on there. We've also implemented, as I mentioned, building monitoring as well as environmental monitoring for any hazardous materials as part of this project, as part of this contract, rather. Contract 2, which is the new contract, that stretches from just north, the southwest corner, just north of the southwest corner of 119th Street, where we're going to be launching the TBM, and that tunnel boring machine will be launched at approximately 120th Street, heading north. At about 123rd Street, it'll start to turn westward. It'll connect with 125th Street and then go through 125th Street, proceeding all the way to just west of Malcolm X Boulevard. Along with those tunnel boring operations, they'll also be doing that 116th Street station excavation that I mentioned, and working on the structural shell for that 116th Street station. Some updates on what we've been doing over the past year. So for contract 1, We've working on the gas main on 105th Street down by East Harlem Tutorial. That's on the upper left-hand corner of the screen. Moving clockwise, you can see the electrical conduits on 2nd Avenue on the top right. On the lower right, you see the sewer pipe installation at 108th Street. And on the lower left, we have the Con Edison vault being installed. That large box gets dropped below the grade level there at 106th Street. So a lot of electrical work, like I said, to clear the way for future heavy civil construction. They're going to, contract 3 will eventually be awarded, and they will need to do cut and cover to bring the tunnels or excavate the tunnels from the surface down at 106th Street, given the geological conditions there and the the topography where we need to connect into the existing tunnels both north and south of 106th Street Station. For contract 2, they've just really sort of gotten going. But they're largely doing geotechnical boring to understand what the conditions are underneath the ground. That's from the borings. They're also doing test pits. That's hand dug to identify any utilities and confirm, the blueprints that we have from our friends at Verizon or DEP or Con Edison to make sure that everything is where they tell us it is. They're working that 125th Street lot that's in the upper right-hand side corner to put in a secant wall that's to support any future excavation, much like when someone was, if you would ever dig in soft earth on a beach, the walls of the excavation, or the digging, if you were on the beach, has a tendency to collapse on itself. So we put in secant walls here to support the walls to make sure that they don't collapse on our future excavations. There's an example of a test pit in the lower right-hand corner at 120th Street, and then more of that secant wall work in the lower left-hand corner at 125th. So upcoming work on contract 1. You may have noticed, again, not picking on Leslie, but I'm sure down at Franklin Plaza, they've noticed we meet with Franklin Plaza on a bi-weekly basis to give them an update and go over any new work or understand any impacts that they're having. But there's a whole host of new work that's going on, a lot of new intensity going on in and around the contract 1 area, because we're efforting to get out of there by January of next year to have everything completed so that when we award contract 3 and eventually they get going, probably in Q2 of 2027, we're out of their way. So what will that work be? We'll continue with the building work, the underpinning and strengthening. That's that building remediation work that's ongoing. That's estimated to be completed around October of 2026. Right now, block 1659 on the west side of 2nd Avenue between 109th and 110th, and block 1655 on the west side of 2nd Avenue between 105 and 106. That's anticipated to get going in Q2. A lot of utility work still going on, both on the east side and west sides of 2nd Avenue. That's largely for gas and electrical. A lot of the water is already been done, but we will have to do some additional water tie-ins in the future. There's sewer work going on the west side of 2nd Avenue at 2nd and 105th. That's going on. That'll be going on till late Q2. That'll be followed by that trunk water main installation in the same area in early Q3. Estimated completion there would be late Q3 for that water main work. And then the installation of the water main crossing 2nd Avenue at 110th Street. That work continues, and we're hopeful that'll be completed by later this quarter, so approximately late March. And then the oilostatic line at 109th and 2nd Avenue in the intersection crossing 2nd Avenue will continue to do that work. That's starting in late Q1. Estimated completion date for that is late Q3. Moving on to contract 2, we're going to be continuing with those test pits and borings. We all are also going to be installing MPT along 2nd Avenue. I sent out a notice to all of our elected partners, community-based organizations, and the community board, advising them that we were going to be establishing MPTs, much like we did for contract 1. Contract 2 is going to be needing to remove the pedestrian islands and the bike lane on the east side of the avenue, because they're going to be working predominantly on the west side of the avenue. But in order to do that, we need to shift traffic to the east. So you're going to see an increase in activity along the east side of 2nd Avenue from 116th Street north while they work to set up the MPT to eventually start with the removal of those pedestrian islands. Then there will also be tunnel rehabilitation from 115th to 120th. That'll get going in Q1. We are working very closely, if you see on the right-hand side of the screen, the building that is identified in turquoise, 246 East 120th. We're going to be removing that building. That is a vacant, dilapidated building right now. It's right next door to PS 96. We've had very close coordination with PS 96 and the School Construction Authority as to how we're going to remove that building safely and efficiently without impacting the school, not only from a safety standpoint, but also from an operational standpoint. We've been taking into consideration the ELA testing and a lot of the things that the school has going on there. And then eventually, once we get that building down, the next move there will be to take down the buildings just north of the northwest corner of 119th and 2nd. So building 2325, 2327, and 2329. Those are identified in the gray sort of circles, looks like a bunch of rocks, if you will, colored in. So those three buildings will come down after we take down the building on 120th. And then we'll continue with the excavation of the 125th Street shafts and the cavern beginning in Q2 of 2026. Just wanted to provide you, I know we get a lot of questions about real estate acquisition. Obviously, this process is guided by our federal partners in the federal government. We are obliged to comply with the Federal Relocation Act. So this just outlines all of the steps that we have to go through after we acquire a building, especially a building that has a bunch of residential tenants. We have the same process in place for commercial tenants that's a little more straightforward with them. It's not multiple units and multiple individuals. It's typically one entity that we're dealing with. But we do follow all of these processes from early notification to providing them with a relocation consultant to work with them to find a new establishment, to providing them with relocation benefits to move their property, and as well as pay for any differential in rent payment. So all of that goes on. I believe we've shared those notices as well as the one pagers that we have on the relocation process. But as always, happy to share those with you so that you have them. We have them in both English and Spanish. Just some data for you as it goes with the relocation. If you see on this chart, this shows all of the existing locations that we've identified in the 106th, 116th, 125th Street station areas, the number of units that we're going to have to relocate, and where we are in that process. If you see at 106th Street, there are 10 units on the commercial side that we anticipate having to relocate, and 23 units on the residential side. If you also look at how many of those have been relocated, it's zeros across the board because we have not finished acquiring the properties in the 106th Street station area because we won't need those properties until contracts 3 and 4. Conversely, we are already in the 116th Street station area and 125th Street station area working in the areas that we needed to acquire property for. So we have acquired all of those properties already. To that end, we've already relocated three families in the 116th Street area. We still have 8 more to go that we're working with, so a total of 11 units there. And we have four still to go in the residential side. Sorry, the 8 was on the commercial side. At 125th Street, there are no residential units; it's only commercial. And we have 4 commercial establishments we are going to be relocating there, and one of which we already have relocated. This project does have a local hiring initiative to it. I know this has been a sort of pain point early on for Community Board 11 because for contracts 1 and even early on, we didn't anticipate when we advance this project that we were going to be able to geographically restrict our contractors' hiring practices. We're again guided by the federal government because this project is federally funded. So previous to the 2020 Biden administration's Build It Back Better initiative, we could not tell the contractor where he could or could not hire from. Fast forward to that 2020 initiative, and now there was a pilot program that allows us to geographically restrict or suggest to our contractor where they should be hiring from. So contracts 2, 3, and 4 of this project will have local hiring component to it. There is a 20% goal for each of those contracts. So that means that 20% of any New York State workforce has to come from either the project area, so all of the zip codes that comprise the project area, East Harlem, Harlem, the South Bronx. So all of those zip codes first. The second tier would be any economically disadvantaged community, and there are zip codes that are associated with that based on the economic and the median income of those communities. So the second tier would be from those communities before we could then open it up to hiring from the entire state. In order to help move that ball down the field, we're going to be executing some job fairs, the first of which we anticipate to be executing in March. We had originally identified March 20th as the date that we were looking to execute that, but in our coordination with some of the venues for that event, we realized that it is the first night of Eid, and in anticipation of that being a conflict for the Muslim population here, and we would not want to interfere with their holiday. We're going to move that date. I'm currently just waiting now on Congressman Espaillat's office to get back to me with some more viable dates from him. This has been an effort that has been very near and dear to him. I've had very detailed conversations with the congressman as well as Senator Clear. So we're going to be coordinating with both of them on this, and I'm just waiting on some new dates that work for them so that we can lock in a venue and get this going. Along with this, we do have partnerships with many job development and workforce organizations in and around the area. As you know from previous job fairs, we work with the Building and Construction Trades Council of Greater New York, and they're our partners for any skilled labor and apprenticeship programs. We've also partnered with the CUNY Wrangell Institute, and they are working with us on job development as well as internships, and that's been a great partnership. I've also spoken to some of the other groups in the area like Positive Workforce, Union Settlement, and some of the other groups who will be working with us, New York City's Workforce One. So all of them will be working with us on these job fairs that we'll be putting on, and hopefully the first one will get executed the first quarter of this year. As you know, we have a very robust community engagement as part of this project. As I mentioned, Community Board 11, Jose, you were part of those tours. So we did some tunnel tours for community leaders and our educators just before we got going with contract 2 and started working in those 1970s era tunnels. So if you see on the upper left-hand side, that is a group photo of some of the folks who got to go down and see some of the history that is down there. On the right-hand side, as we look to build out our existing 125th Street laydown area in that old Extel property, the old Pathmark property, we appreciate and understand that not only our elected partners, but Uptown Grand Central has gone through to great lengths to implement a community art program there. So we've worked with them extensively to ensure that we can maintain that art program. Not only is it a great program for the community, but it helps us by beautifying our work area and takes away a potential eyesore here. So if you see on the right-hand side of the screen, both on the top and lower level, you see us working with the Uptown Grand's community art program. And then on the lower left-hand side of the screen is just some photos, a photo of the educators and the teachers who came down with us to the 1970s era tunnels. A few statistics on our grassroots approach here. As you know, we have our pop-ups, which we do, out in the field in the better weather. But we've held over 500 outreach meetings to date, both at the community center and going out and meeting the community where they are. We're happy to do that. If anybody on this call, whether you're part of the community board or just a community member, if you have an entity or an organization, a school that you think would benefit from us, we have a very robust STEM operation where our team goes into the schools and we tie what's going on right in the backyards of these schools, this historic Second Avenue subway project, and we tie it into the curriculum that's going on in the classroom. So we're happy to do that, happy to entertain all options and opportunities, so please pass those on. We also have our community advisory meetings, which we do quarterly, both with the residential stakeholders and the business stakeholders. We understand that the needs and the concerns of those two groups are diverse, and the impacts to the business community may not be the same to the residential community. So we have a meeting dedicated to each of those, and we've been doing those quarterly since the onset of contract 1. And then obviously the outreach to the programs the outreach programs, meeting with schools and local organizations, as I mentioned. This is just an example of our construction advisory committee meetings. That's me, Congressman Espaillat, and some of the community who turns out for those meetings. We try to keep it, very high level so that we're dealing with individuals who have a greater than 1-to-1 reach so that they can get information direct from the horse's mouth. That's me or the project team. So they're dealing directly with the MTA and the folks who can effectuate change if they have questions and concerns. And then it also allows us to hear from those who are being directly impacted, and they can bring their questions and concerns directly to us. These are just some of the newsletters and the different advisories and things that we send out, that goes out in both English and Spanish. Across the community, we send them out from a weekly standpoint to give you a heads up as to what work is coming on a weekly basis. There are monthly newsletters go out, and then there are the quarterly construction advisory notices that go out, as well as anything that goes out about any new or impactful work. I just wanted to touch real quickly before I turn it back over to you, Jose, for any questions and the community board. But you may have heard in the news about the 125th Street subway feasibility study. The governor has tasked the MTA with understanding if it would be feasible to continue the subway eventually from our 125th Street terminus all the way to the west side to the 123. We did conduct that study and we determined that it was feasible. And it is actually practicable that we keep the tunnel boring machines in the ground once we get through with the Second Avenue subway work, rather than taking them out and having to procure new tunnel boring machines and construct a new tunnel launch box. It makes more sense, both cost and time wise, to do those tunnels now. So what we're doing is we're working with the governor, to transform a crosstown link in Harlem, which would add 3 new stations with connections to 7 additional subway lines and 160,000 additional projected daily riders all the way over to the west side to the 1. This is not a done deal yet. It's just we've determined that it can be done. So the governor has given us an extra $25 million in funding to advance the design and the environmental review. So that's what we're going to be doing now in 26 and 27. And then we'll make a determination, because that'll sync up with the timing when the tunnel boring machines will be reaching the end of their destination for the completion of the Second Avenue subway work. And we'll have by that time decided whether we can continue on or we should continue on all the way to the west side. So I just wanted to provide you all with an update on what that is, since you may have seen it in the news. And with that, Jose, I turn it back over to you for any questions that the board might have.
Thank you, Joe. You answered one of my questions already. Short, because they meet with you every 2 weeks.
No, they're not with me.
But with Franklin Plaza.
Well, that's a different entity and I don't really. Joe, good evening, Joe. It's good to hear from you.
Hey, Leslie, how are you?
Did you get all my pictures that I sent you via email of what's going
on? I do.
On?
Yeah, no, I do. And the first thing I do, the second I do, it doesn't matter whether you send them to me at 6 in the morning, 6 at night, or midnight, Leslie, because I know you're always out there. But I send them right to the project team as soon as I get them.
Okay, good. So I noticed that they have done a lot of, they took away my fencing and they've actually come into Franklin Plaza property. I know we had access. They've cut wires, they've cut lighting within the complex. Did you know about that?
Yeah, so we had worked out so the bi-weekly meeting that they have that I referenced and Leslie acknowledged, that is, she's not part of. That meeting is with building management, the president of the board, and the lawyers for the owners board, right? So we meet with them on a bi-weekly basis, and our lawyers and their lawyers worked out an access agreement that allowed us to, on the east side, to push in the fence 6 feet so that we could work from the Franklin Plaza side of the property and conduct our work to get those utilities relocated. So we removed the fencing and we've stored the fencing to ultimately, we've stored it, not restored it, to ultimately restore it. We'll also restore the sprinkler heads and the grass and everything that's there. So we're working with Franklin Plaza's building management and your landscapers to make sure that we're keeping tabs on all that stuff. We also had to push in 2 lights that were on the 107th Street intersection on the east side. inside so that we are not impacting them. When we relocated those lights, it was brought to our attention that there were 5 lights inside the Franklin Plaza property that no longer work. We don't know whether that's a coincidence, probably isn't. Early investigations have not indicated that it's related to our work because, and I'm not an electrician here, I'm just replying because, we are investigating this. This is what I'm being told is the 2 lights that we relocated still work. The lights that are not working are inside Franklin Plaza property, and the lights would not still be working that we relocated if the wires were cut because they wouldn't be getting power. So as recently as today, we were out there with Alex from but Franklin Plaza's maintenance team and our contractors investigating this. We've also installed temporary lighting there while we figure the problem out.
Yes, people are thinking that there was a shooting there because those floodlights are very, very bright. And the elderly are very concerned about that.
They're those big, heavy-duty industrial lights like they do when it's a crime scene. I get that, but we wanted to make sure that the area was adequately illuminated and not dark because that creates an additional problem.
Yes, now that you started the trenching, and I've sent you pictures of the trenching that's going in front of my building, they're getting very close to the gas plant. And my porter, he can feel the vibration right outside because the tank is right there and the trench is like maybe 10 feet from the tank that's there.
Yep.
Underground.
Yeah, we know about the gas tank out and the whole plant. There's also one on the west side that we're aware of too. And we're taking great precautions, not to impact anything while we're doing our work. We did have a complaint last week, approximately, I believe it was Tuesday night of last week, where somebody indicated that they smelled a gas odor. So I immediately called my contacts at Con Ed. Con Ed dispatched a team. They took readings out there and they did not find any anomalies, nor did they find anything wrong with our work. So that situation, quote unquote, was cleared by Con Edison. I also received a complaint today about some vibratory work from Building 315 from Eric Bent. And I forwarded that on and asked our team to pull the vibration reports to understand if we're exceeding any levels there. So I should have more information on that. But again, as we get those complaints and concerns, we try to address them as quickly as possible.
Great. Now the snow removal. We've had a lot of snow. Franklin Plaza grounds were very adamant and they were on point as the snow was coming down, cleaning it up. However, your staff has put all the snow into what we just cleaned. And it's causing traffic, it's causing a blockage on the egress and access to the parking lot on 108th Street. Since they've taken over the southeast corner on 108th Street, the entrance to our parking lot now is inundated with all the snow that they removed so they can park their personal cars when they come to work into their area. Do you know anything about that? Or
I do know that on Tuesday we had closed down 108th Street altogether because just east of 108th and 2nd, we were replacing the Con Edison vault there. So we had to excavate that entire area and take out a vault in order to eventually put in a new vault. So we had closed off that block and we had flaggers at the entrance and exit of your driveway there because we were moving traffic in and out to First Avenue. So I'm not sure if that snow removal or the relocation of the snow that you're referring to was a result of that work or whether it was just, inopportune placement of the snow, but I was not aware that it was impacting the driveway. I mean, I do have project team members, both from the outreach team for the contractor, as well as the project executive for contract 1 on this call right now. So they're all are already aware, but I will send an email after this to find out what's going on with that snow.
Right, they cleaned off the walkway on 2nd Avenue into that area that they were working in. I'm talking about halfway in the block, blocking the person.
No, I get it. It's impacting the entrance and egress to the 108th Street parking lot for Franklin Plaza. So let me find out about that because this is the first time I'm hearing about it.
Okay, and when they close off the entranceway on 107th Street, they close it off to the commercial property as well. When they close off the walkway on 107th Street, I understand that they don't want us to cross all the way over, but there is part of the sidewalk that they shut down, and I've had
right. So I don't know if you're familiar or how close you work with. I'm imagine given your status with Franklin Plaza, you're familiar with Debbie Foster, who's the building management person there. So we've worked with her, so we understand their hours of operations. We do intermittently close the front entrance to that commercial office that they have there, but there are two other entrances, both from the 108th Street side and then on the 3rd Avenue side. So there is a sign up in front of that 107th Street entrance to the commercial property there that says if this entrance should be closed, please use one of the other two entrances. So they're aware of that, and we've worked out that coordination with them.
Right, but if you're doing construction work past the walkway, why does that little narrow walkway have to be closed off on 107th Street on the west side of 2nd Avenue?
We try not to close off 107th, the narrow walkway into the maintenance parking lot and the Lot A entrance all at the same time, because the maintenance team needs to use that middle lot. And if we close the 107th Street side and those other two areas, the commercial folks would not be able to get around to the other entrances. So we should not be closing all three of those entrances at any one time.
Well, they have been. The commercial property have told me that they have to, they try to open up at 9 o'clock when they were used to. Now they have to close, they open up at 11. They're losing a lot of customers because of that time change and the access.
So you're talking about Franklin Plaza's commercial properties or the businesses on the northwest corner of 106th and 2nd?
What business?
The commercial the Amistad, the pizzeria.
Yeah.
The nail salon, the dentist, and the liquor store. Those little three.
No, in fact, we've specifically tailored our work to get out of their way by 9 o'clock in the morning. So we're only working from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. there initially, and then we started working in the overnights to try to make up some time. But we were originally only working a very short shift there, 6 to 9, to get out of their hair so that we're not impacting them.
Well, the Amistad, they had to change their hours of work because they have closed off that walkway to get into their establishment. You can't get in.
Yeah, no, but that's my point, is we're keeping that dedicated walkway open to those four businesses at all times during their hours of operations. I don't know if there was some missteps early on, but certainly in the last 3 to 6 months, we've been making a concerted effort because of some initial missteps, because we weren't exactly sure of their hours of operation and how early people got there to prep and so on and so forth. But we've worked very closely with them to make sure that we're no longer impacting those operations. As I said, I have Michelle Perez, who is our community outreach person for the contractor, as well as Hector and our entire outreach team for EHCC. So we'll have somebody pass by La Amistad and make sure that we're not still impacting. I think that's an older issue, but we'll make sure it's not still persisting.
Okay, I have one more question. The community advisory board, it hasn't been done in a while. When will be the next one?
Well, so we did it in Q4 of last year, and then we are anticipating doing one in Q1 of this year, so by the end of March.
Okay. Those are my questions.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So good evening. My name is Keoka Jackson. I think this was like further back in the presentation, so I probably don't remember because I'm a little old.
I can scroll back if you want.
I just wanted to know about the job fair, and when you guys have these job fairs, how the young people will be chosen by the organizations. So do they have to like connect with the organizations, or are they connecting directly to you guys for the positions that you might have to offer?
So it's a great question, and it's twofold, and we're really excited about this opportunity because in the past when we've done these job fairs, it was more or less just a matchmaking event, right? We were bringing in the unions, the building trades, civil service opportunities from not only the MTA, but DOT, DEP, NYPD, FDNY. So we were bringing in all these groups, and then folks would walk around and drop off their resumes. We didn't really have a connection from the project side of things because we couldn't require our project to hire locally. Now we have actual tangible jobs that we need to fill on this project. So we will have tables there, not only from those entities that I already talked about, with civil service opportunities, but we will have entities from the project, from the project team, the contractor, who will talk about what they're looking for, the skills that they're going to need, whether it's skilled labor, non-skilled labor, back of the house. You know, and we're going to open that up to, it's going to be opened up to everybody. So, you know, the more folks that we get the word out to show up for this event, the better.
Thank you.
Hi, Joe. Our Economic Development Committee hasn't met yet this month. I know you guys are busy, but if you're doing a job fair with local hiring, do you think if I mentioned to them, it would be possible for someone on your end to hop into that meeting for a few minutes on Zoom just to talk to them about it?
Yeah, we don't have it fully baked yet because we're still waiting on a date. But if you think, when does the Economic Development Committee meet?
I believe they're going to meet on the 23rd.
So it's late in the month. I was going to say, because if it was like the second Tuesday of the month or the first Tuesday of the month, then I could come in March when we have things a little bit more fully baked. But I'm happy to pop in for a couple minutes and at least just, you know, whet everybody's appetite for this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually like it more that it isn't fully baked.
Okay.
You could tell them that and just have a discussion with them. I'll let them know to not expect fully, but just have a little bit of a conversation.
Yeah, that'd be
All right?
great. I appreciate that.
Hi, Joe. My name is Christina. Thank you for your presentation, but it was a lot to digest.
Absolutely.
And I just have a really quick question, if you could answer. What is an MPT and a test pit?
So an MPT, and I will send this presentation to you all, and it'll be on our website, but I'll send it to the board as well, and they can distribute it as they see fit. So you all can take a deeper dive into it, and if you have any other questions, you can follow up at a later date. But to get to your questions, an MPT is maintenance and protection of traffic. So that's short for, that's MPT for short, and that takes into consideration not only vehicular traffic but pedestrian traffic, and those are those Jersey barriers and the fences. So it keeps our work in a confined space so that the public can't wander in and get hurt. It also protects our workers while they're in there from getting clipped by a car or something. So that's what MPT stands for. And a test pit, similar to the borings, a boring and the geological testing that we're doing now, a boring actually drills down into the earth to take a sample of what's underneath, rock, soil, etc. A test pit is hand dug, and it's usually like an 8 by 10 pit, and that's hand dug because it's being done sensitively to make sure that we don't damage any utilities, to understand what the utilities are underneath where we're going to be working.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rafael?
Excellent, Joe. Excellent presentation. Good to hear you and see you.
Thank you, Rafael. How are you, sir?
I'm leaving now.
Okay, Joe, I had a few questions. Christina
Sure.
took one of mine. I was also curious what MPT, I was right there. What's the status on the boring machine? I know you guys ordered it. What's the,
So yeah, we ordered it. It's being fabricated and constructed now. It'll eventually be, once it gets constructed and approved, then it'll be taken apart and shipped here, and then we'll reassemble it towards the end of this year, and presumably, I think, and I do have Kurt Egger was on from the Project 2 team. Kurt, I think you have the ability to unmic, but if you wanted to just give a little more information on when we anticipate getting into the tunnel boring operations. Does he have that on mic? I don't know.
He can unmute, yeah.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Unmuted. No, so I think we have presented this timeline before. The TBM has been ordered. It is being manufactured as we speak. We expect the TBM to arrive, as you said, towards the end of 26, early 27. It's going to come in pieces, going to be reassembled, tested, and then we're going to basically put it down to its location where it's going to start at 120th Street, and basically put in the trailing gear, because the TBM is not only the cutter head and the shield, it has a long trailing gear between 200 and 300 feet long. And once that is all in place, we're gonna start up the TBM and start boring. This is gonna happen sometime in the first quarter of 2027. One important aspect is the Con-Ed power that we need. This TBM needs a lot of power, so we are currently procuring switchgear and transformers that are required to basically get, when we get the power from Con-Ed to the lot, to basically get the power down to the TBM and drive the TBM because the TBM is electrically driven.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you, Kurt.
You're welcome.
We're excited about the news about going to the west side, which is something we had brought up to you, Joe, but it looks like it may become a reality. Because my understanding is a lot of times these boring machines, it's too expensive to even remove them out of the tunnel. They end up just like gutting the most important parts and like burying the rest. But I think it would be amazing if we can have that connection. There was a concern, which I haven't been able to see myself, but the signage with the Second Avenue, there's been considerable complaints that it's kind of been subpar compared to what happened in the Upper East Side. And again, you're in the very beginning of it, but what I mean by signage is the commercial signing, like when you're covering a business, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that like the businesses on Second Avenue are going to have a very difficult time, or near Second Avenue are going to have a very second. So we want to make sure that these businesses have like any and every advantage that you learned on the first phase.
Absolutely. So are we talking about, is this a recent complaint or it's an ongoing complaint?
I heard it today, actually. That's why I'm bringing it up to you. And I'm going to.
So two things in that regard, because first and foremost, we are doing signage, like open for business signage on the exteriors of the MPTs or the work zones that may be obscuring the frontage to businesses. It isn't great signage in the sense that it's temporary, because this work has always been intended to be temporary. It's shifting around. When phase or contract 2s, 3, and 4 get going, and they're going to be there for longer, extended periods of time in fixed locations, we anticipate doing a much more branded, consistent campaign, similar to what we did in phase 1. I think what we're starting to get some negative feedback on right now is, as we move north to 109th and 110th Street, because of the work that's going on there, some of these businesses had awnings that extend out over 2nd Avenue. So we've had to remove those awnings while we do this work so they don't get damaged. And the contractor put up temporary vinyl banners, if you will. And they're very simplistic. Some of them, I don't think any of them right now have backing, so they tend to move around in the wind. So we're exploring better ways to do that temporary signage for them. So I think the complaints, if it is as recent as today, it's probably more in relation to that second item. And we're trying to work on some better signage for them while we're doing that.
Is there a way to implement the signage earlier? In particular, like in phase 1, you guys had a rendering of what the business was on the outside, the actual business. That's what they did on the Upper East Side. Like, if it was a grocery store, they had like kind of a picture of the grocery store so that people knew that.
No. It wasn't. If it was only because our entrance was in front of it. So it was a picture of our entrance with the Gristides or whatever that was behind it. It wasn't just a picture of the business. We weren't doing that.
But if you're covering the front of the business and people can't see it, we really need to be able to make sure that a small business may not be able to wait 3-6 months. Like, that may not seem like a very long time for you, but in a small business, for them to lose a certain amount of clientele in 3 to 6 months could close them. So we'd like to know, like,
no, absolutely. Any place that we're going to be for more than 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to put up signage, and we'll work with these folks. Again, we have Hector and everybody, Desiree and the whole outreach team on from both contracts 1 and 2. So if you have specific requests from stores, either send them to us or you can tell me now, or these guys might already know, because like I said, we've been getting some feedback from folks on the quality of signage. So we're already working on some potential ways to upgrade it.
All right, great. And again, I can't say that I saw it firsthand, but me and them are going to take a drive down there and we'll take a look. Does anyone else on the committee have a question? Jewel?
Still, you're indicating the Second Avenue Subway Task Force that, is that an active, entity within?
It will be active.
Okay.
We've met a couple of times, and then the board went on hiatus, and we haven't met since hiatus, but we did meet a couple of times already on that.
Yeah, the plan is to put it in and have it meet more frequently moving forward. I know that was under previous leadership. We're looking to activate it more, and I know you've been very engaged and willing, so hopefully that'll be good moving forward.
We have one question from Diana. Diana, can you mute yourself? You're muted.
Yes. Hi, good evening.
Hello.
I do have a question regarding the small businesses.
Sure.
You mentioned that there'll be some businesses that have to be relocated.
Yep.
I wanted to ask what kind of help is given to those businesses, and if you know what businesses are being affected already.
So one of the slides previously, I don't know if you saw it, it walked through all the various steps that we do in the relocation process. So we do that for both commercial and residential tenants. So, for instance, our relocation consultant will work with the business to identify all of the fixtures inside their business, because businesses are very unique, right? If it's a business that serves food, they're going to have specialty ovens and equipment and things like that. So we will work with them to appraise all of their fixtures and understand what needs to be moved and relocated. We'll work with them to find suitable space to move to, and then we'll help them move.
Where go we, well, because I also work with small businesses in the area.
Yep.
So I wanted to know, like, is there a way that I could find out what are the businesses that are being affected, or that's private information that you cannot share?
No, I would have to double check on what we can or can't share. I mean, obviously it's public, the property we acquired. So, I mean, somebody could simply deduce that if we bought a particular building, the business in that building is being relocated. But let me find out if there's any sort of confidentiality that goes with that. I'll speak to my real estate team. And if you want to shoot me an email, I can put my contact information in the chat, and you could always reach out to me directly.
Yes, thank you.
Diana, so you're aware, anyone that's being relocated, it won't be a surprise. They've been in contact with them for some time. I don't think it's, so they're purchasing the property, they're being in contact with everyone, whether it's residential or commercial. Like, this is not it's a very structured process. So it's not like anyone's just going to pop up and be like, hey, your business has to go. So if you haven't been in contact, that means that most likely it will not be affecting you or any other business for that matter. So by now, Joe, is that accurate that you've contacted everyone that will have a relocation?
So everybody in 116 and 125, I don't know that everybody in 106, because we haven't acquired all the properties. Once we acquire the property, we can. There's it's very gray area. If we are not the owners of the property yet, we can't start notifying the tenants for fear of running them off on the tenant, right? We don't want to jeopardize the owner's business, their rent income. So we have to wait till we're actually close to or close to vesting title on those to start notifying people. So there may be some folks in the 106th Street Station area who aren't 100% clear yet, but everybody else in 125 and 116 has.
Perfect. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Also, just wanted to mention what Jose mentioned regarding the signage for the businesses. Like, it would be great for you to start getting better signage like as soon as possible. Like he said, like a lot of the businesses, we're small businesses, and we cannot, like, if we're blocked even for a week, that actually affects our business. So just getting the plain signage that you have right now aren't really helpful. So it'd be great if you could improve that as soon as possible.
Yeah, and Diane, I think we've met before, right? Haven't we? I feel like we've spoken before. You're not only a business owner, but you work with the small businesses, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So
Thank you, Diana. Thank you. Joe, does the committee have any other questions? All right, great. Joe, we really appreciate your time, your team, everyone here. Kurt, Michelle, Alejandra, Hector, as always. We appreciate you. We look forward to continue working. Obviously, this will affect a lot of businesses, so we're going to try to get it preemptive as much as possible. But thank you for coming tonight.
Appreciate you having us, and look forward to you. Dem, I'll look forward to speaking with the Economic Development Committee as well, so I appreciate that connect.
Thank you, Joe. Have a great night.
Thanks. You guys have a good one.
Bye, Joe. Thanks. Thanks, Joe.
Okay. That's a great presentation. It seems that this is moving along rather rapidly, so we'll be engaging it. The task force obviously engages the brunt of it, but public safety and transportation will always be involved. In particular, like, we'll also reach out to economic development because businesses will be heavily affected. Even in Upper East Side, with all the remediations they did, a lot of businesses still went under.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I had some old business, but due to the time and everything else, I'll just mention it very briefly. There's a capital project from DOT regards to 128th Street. They are going to redo the entrance to Third Avenue coming into Third Avenue Bridge coming into the city. They're going to bring up the school up. They're going to put a traffic light there, and I did a quick drive-through with Khalid yesterday in regards to that, so we'll have some comments. I'd like to work on that. I still think that we should be able to suggest them putting a two-way between 128 and 127th and Third Avenue so that traffic can flow. But because of the time and everything else, we'd like to, we'll move that for next month. All right, so let's do the roll call.
Jose Osvaldo,
Present.
Leslie Colon,
Present.
Carlos Diaz is absent, Juan Hopkins absent, Keoka Jackson,
Present.
Christina Johnson,
Present.
Jewel Jones,
Present.
Sage Mason absent, Valerie Ponte,
present.
and Valerie Von Sanders absent. That's it, Chair. Oh,
Meeting adjourned.
Sam Moore had his hand raised. I don't know if you.
Sam Moore. Sure, let's take one last question prior to. Hello, Sam, go ahead, Sam.
Good afternoon, committee. How is everyone doing? Happy New Year to those. I do not want to keep everybody on too long, but I want to have some time where I'm able to speak about the street co-naming of my late mother. If I understand that we're in a time constraint now, so if we can find another time to do this, I would love to do that, because I don't want to keep everybody too long, because I know that you guys have been on this meeting for some time. So I want to be cautious to that for you.
I will reach out to you personally, Sam, and then we'll start the conversation. Because I just became chair again, so I have to fill in to where we are again. Okay.
I appreciate you. You have a great night.
You too. Have a good night. Okay, with that, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.